Hey guys, just wanted to throw together a real quick and dirty video showing some of the specialty tools that I've purchased from different vendors to help make the build a little easier. Somebody commented on my last video asking specifically about that angle deburr tool that they saw me using, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, as well as some of the other tools that I use that help make some of those tight spots easier to work with. So I'll throw the links to the sites or the products in the description below if you're interested in any of the products. Otherwise, take a look. All right, so this first tool that I bought is just a angle drill that I purchased from Brown Tool. I actually saw this suggestion in some other, I don't know if it was a build video or somebody's build log that I saw somewhere. But what they did is they just took a regular angle drill that you would attach to a standard drill to turn into an angle drill. It comes with a 1/4 28 threaded end, so you just buy any deburr bit, you can screw it right into the end. And then on the other end, where you would normally drill it into the chuck of your drill, I just took a die and cut the 1/4 28 threads into the shaft, and that way you take your speed deburr tool and you can actually just screw that right in. And now once it's screwed in, you just twist that deburr tool and it's going to give you a nice edge. Now the really nice thing as well is most of deburring you really don't need any real force or anything on the holes that you're deburring, so you can actually just use your fingers as well and just twist that drill bit, and it's going to get you just enough in order to deburr those holes. So this is a really handy tool for some of those tight to reach spots or real sharp angles. That I bought from Brown Tool. It was $50, basically just shy thereof. You don't need anything fancy. They certainly sell much better quality angle drills that'll last longer, but again, for what you're using this for, there's no need to buy a $100, $150 angle drill if you're going to end up just threading the end and using it to deburr. So like I said, this one's 50 bucks. If you can find somebody somewhere selling one online for a whole lot cheaper, that's obviously a much better way to go for what you're using it for. These are another great tool for some of the hard to reach holes in the ribs. What you can do, I've already riveted, or dimpled this rib here, but again, it's a lot easier to get they just riveted, or just welded a set of dies to some vice grips, so you can just slide that real nice and easy. It's not going to give you quite as good of a hole as a traditional dimple set, so obviously the holes where it's easier to reach with a traditional set, that's what you're going to want to use. But this is great as you get to the ends where it's a lot tougher to reach. You know, down here you can certainly reach a lot easier. As we get down here, it's a little tougher, and sometimes you have a little bit less clearance. So then the tool I'll use there is actually another tool from Cleveland. And these vice grips I bought from Cleveland. It was an old Avery tool, but I bought them from Cleveland. They were $45, I believe, from Cleveland. Aircraft Spruce also sells it for $50. So again, those are handy tool. This is another tool that Cleveland sells, and certainly other builders have made these their own. It's not a terribly difficult thing to make, but all you're taking is just a piece of steel. You can either cut a hole, or drill a hole that'll support the female end of the dimple die into the edge here, and use that as a female die. That's essentially what Cleveland did. They just built that into their rig here. And then if you bought your C-frame from Cleveland, you can use the piece off the head of the C-frame and attach your male dimple in there, and then using the rivet gun lined up with the hole, and you just rivet it down to your material, and that'll also give you a good dimple. In my case, I did not buy the C-frame. I actually bought the DRDT2 Dimpler. So they also sell this as a tool attachment alone that you can buy, and that was just $12. So that was a pretty cheap tool. So just $12, just slips into any rivet gun, and then you have the end that you can put your male dimple die into. The tight fit dimple fixture that they sell on Cleveland is $38.50. Lastly, the other tool that's nice, especially on some of the end holes on the skins, works out really well, is the close quarter die set is what they call it. And essentially, you're just using it as a pop rivet setup. And again, it just has a female and a male die put in here. You run the brass line through first. Do just a real light squeeze to get the hole started, or the dimple started. And then you're going to run just a little simple brad nail through the hole as well. And that will get the, it's a tougher material, and it's a cheaper replacement, so you can buy them in any hardware store, those little brad nails. And then that you can squeeze a little tighter in order to get the dimple down tight. It's not going to give you quite as good of a dimple, obviously, as the squeezers or the C-frames will. But again, in those hard to reach spots, it's going to give you a good alternative. So, like I said, just a simple review of some of the specialty tools that I've bought that aren't terribly expensive. They're handy to have, make the job a little easier. If you have any questions about any of these that I've talked about, feel free to throw questions in the comments below and I'll answer. And otherwise, keep building, and I'll see you next video with the priming of the rudder.